Hello, welcome to the third part of The Night of the Zealot, Part 3, The Devourer Below. I'm going to read the fluff section from it. As per usual, we're going to change it into the first person. I'm going to give you the amazing art on the rules reference, which I actually think would make a better cover for the box than the actual box art, just because it's less actiony and it's spookier. So, Part 3, The Devourer Below. After a frantic nighttime search throughout Arkham, I have tracked down and questioned several members of the cult. My findings are disturbing. They claim to worship a being known as Umordhoth. And now, I've no idea how to pronounce this. I'm going to go with Umordhoth. Umordhoth, a monstrous entity from another realm. I am able to confer much of Lita's story. The cult is agitated over the destruction of a ghoul lair. However, a surprising detail also turns up. The one who invaded the lair and set this night's events in motion are none other than Lita Chandler herself. I am unsure as to why this important detail was omitted from Lita's story. Did she tell me only as much as was necessary to draw me into her conflict? But in another light, she seems to be fighting to protect the city of Arkham from a terrible menace. The final piece of the puzzle was found written in a journal possessed by one of the cultists. Described a dark ritual to be performed within the woods south of Arkham this very night. According to the journal, the ritual's completion will open a gate and bring forth the cult's dark master into this world. If the cult is not stopped, Lita warns, there is a possibility that Umordhoth's vengeance will consume all in its path. Frightened but determined to stop the ritual, I headed into the woods. So I've gathered together all the relevant sets. There are 6 copies of the Arkham Woods in the set, and we put 4 of them there and 2 are out. And I start play on the main path. We've got a ritual site and Umordhoth set out of play. There are 4 different enemy encounter sets, that one of which will get randomly shuffled in, so you never know exactly which nasty beasties are going to be in there. Then we look at how many cultists got away in the last scenario, and there were 3 that got away, so straight away from the start, 2 Doom starts on the Arkham Woods. I have to add an Elder sign, an Elder Gods, the Old Gods token into the bag, and we'll look at what that does in a bit. Needless to say, it's bad. It was not past midnight when I finished the last scenario, so I'm okay there, and the Ghoul Priest is still alive, so he's been shuffled into the encounter deck. Right then, let's take a look at the agenda and the acts. Amazing art as... Oh, you know what? Actually, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the symbol, the token reference first. So, the Devourer Below. Skull is -X, where X is the number of monster enemies in play. Cultist is -2, and place a Doom on the nearest enemy. Tablet is -3, and if there's an enemy monster at your location, take a damage. And the Elder God's Ancient 1 token is -5, and if there's an Ancient 1 enemy in play, reveal another token. All good stuff. Right then, so, Agenda 1A, the Arkham Woods. From interrogating members of the conspiracy within Arkham, I have learned that they are performing a rite of vengeance in response to the destruction of one of their master's lairs. I have entered the woods outside Arkham to stop them. The woods seem unnaturally cold and filled with a deathly silence. 4 Doom, and we're already 2 Doom along. And then one of my favourite pieces of art, because clearly I'm a disturbed individual, is the Act 1A, Investigating the Trail. The evidence you've gathered has led you to the woods south of Arkham, where you believe a ritual to summon a being called Umordhoth is about to take place. Steeling your resolve, you set forth deeper into the woods, hoping to find the site of this ritual. And I need 3 clues to move on to the next stage. What was I... Oh, yes. In terms of Roland's deck, I put in another Elder Sign amulet, and I took out the 1-cost magnifying glass. So we're starting on the main path. Let's take a look at it. Hangman's Brook separates Uptown from the woods south of Arkham. Passing over the small bridge, I've followed the main path deeper into the forest. So let's reveal it. 2 shrouds, 0 clue. The main path is connected to each other woods location. Action, resign. There's nothing we can do to stop them. You flee from the woods, leaving Arkham to its grisly fate. And there's Roland. Right then. So, starting hand then. 5 cards. Now I have played this scenario before, so I know that if I don't get Lita in my starting hand, I will mulligan every single card to try and get her. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got Unexpected Courage, my random weakness, which is Paranoia, which will make me discard all my resources because it's in my starting hand. Because it's in my starting hand, I get to set it to one side and draw a new one. Perception, but it doesn't mean I know what it is now. Manual Dexterity, Knife, and Overpower. So full of skills. I'm going to discard all of them to mulligan them in the hope that I will see Lita. Why do I need to see her so much? Well, we'll find out. Let's just say I have very little faith that I can stop the ritual. I think in order to do that, you need to be an absolute monster in the second scenario. And anyone who's watched that previous video will know that that did not necessarily didn't go terribly. I've seen it go much worse, but with the amount of fails I had, I didn't really have much of a chance of really smashing it. So that's really put me on the back foot already. I'm essentially 2 turns behind here, and later more bad things will happen for my performance there. Right then, let's see. 5 new cards. Come on, Lita. So we've got a Beat Cop. I admire the courage of that man. The Machete. Ugh, fantastic. Dodge. A 45 automatic. And a Vicious Blow. So no Lita, but you know, good cards there. Right then, so first turn, no Mythos phase, so straight to my investigate. Oh, of course, 5 resources, and I begin with a Mental Trauma. Right, okay. So, first things first. See, what I would really like to do is have both the Machete and the Beat Cop, because I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to get to necessarily play these guys. So, and the Beat Cop might be my only opportunity to have some shielding from the horrors that might end up hitting poor old Roland. So I'll play the Beat Cop for 4, and then I will draw a card, Hyper Awareness, and I'll gain a resource. Not a very active turn for Roland there. Maybe I should have been more aggressive right from the start, but I know how crazy this scenario is going to get, so I'm not very optimistic about actually stopping the ritual, so I may as well make sure that I'm well tooled up. Apparently I've skipped my resource phase. Yes, Elder Sign Amulet. That will be very helpful, meaning I don't go insane. So put a Doom on there. Draw an encounter card. Grasping Hands. Resolution. Test Fleet. For each point I fail by, take a damage. My fleet is 2, and I have no cards that I'm willing to discard to boost it. So I will just have to see how much damage Roland takes, although I will definitely be putting some damage onto that Beat Cop. So, -2, which means I have 0 fleet, which means I failed by 3. So Beat Cop, you can have a damage, and Roland, you get 2 damage. Right. Okay then, so Roland equipped the Machete. 3 resources. Let's move into one of the woods. So we'll read the fluff. It's all the same fluff on the front, but we'll read it on the first one we go to. So, the Arkham Woods. Growing up, I was always warned to stay out of the woods. Now I know why. Oh, sorry, I should show you. And it is the Tangled Thicket. It's 2 shroud and 1 clue is there. This location is investigated using might instead of the skill indicated in the investigation attempt. An old horse trail in colonial days. This overgrown path hasn't been used in over a decade. Well, we are speaking Roland's language. Now, that means that he would be investigating with 5, because he has 5 might. Of course, the standard rule of Roland likes clues to be there is probably going to prevail here. Do you know what? I'm just going to gain a resource because I'm thinking about that Elder Mage amulet. And ultimately I could be ended up gaining resources on another turn, so I might as well do it now. So, resource and a card. Oh, evidence. Fast, player, after you defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location. Unfortunately, I know that this isn't going to be very helpful as an event in this scenario because there's never more than 1 clue at a location, but I could always use it to boost a test. And there's the enemy that I was worried about coming out. So 3 attack, 3 health, 3 fleet, and prey on the lowest health. The sight of the thing raised the question, do we eat to live, or do we live to eat? So he's engaged with me. Right, so I'm going to chop him up with my amazing machete. So that means the machete gives me +1, the beat cup gives me +1, and I'm already 4, so I'm on 6. 6 versus 3. Let's give it a go. -2, place a doom on the nearest enemy. Thankfully that does not cause the thing to advance because that's checked in the Mythos phase unless otherwise stated. So -2 means that I'm still on 4, so I beat it, doing 2 damage. Right, now I'm going to discard the beat cop to deal a damage to an enemy at my location, which does the last wound to the ravenous ghoul, killing it, which means I defeated an enemy at my location, which means I can hoover up that clue. And I've got 1 action left, so I'm going to move back to the main path. Right, not a terrible start. So a resource and a card. Guts. Mythos stays. A doom goes on there, which advances the agenda. Throughout the woods, a shrieking cry echoes. From somewhere deeper in the forest, a score of hideous voices answer the call, inhuman as the baying of hounds and yet articulate, repeating a singular name. Umoroth, Umoroth, Umoroth. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck and discard cards from the top until a monster enemy. Come on, camera, you can do this. Until a monster enemy is discarded. Spawn that enemy at the main path, then place 1 doom on that enemy. Right, so the ravenous ghoul could be back for seconds. Oh, that was a fast action with the beat cop. So I actually had another action with Roland when I placed him there. And so I would have played the Elder Stone Amulet. Sorry. The beat cop was a fast action. This scenario is hard enough as it is, so I don't need to be punishing myself. Yeah, let's get that Elder Sign protecting me from the horror. Although, actually, I am bleeding quite heavily as well. Right, okay, so discard cards from this deck until we get a monster. Well, there's a monster. So it's a young, deep one. So it's 3 fight, 3 health, and 3 fleet. Prey lowest, it's a hunter, and after it engages me, take a horror. He's engaged me. Let's put a horror on that Elder Sign amulet. Right, and now, Agenda 2, the ritual begins. Umoroth, Umoroth, Umoroth. The chanting builds in intensity, echoing into the cold air of the night. The sparse clouds in the sky coalesce above the Arkham woods, blotting out the faint light of the stars. Enemies get +1 fight and +1 evade, which means this guy's a 4 fight. Goodness gracious. What a horrible chap. Now that was just the doom, so I hadn't even drawn a card yet. Dissonant voices. Revelation. Put dissonant voices into play in your threat area. You cannot play assets or events. At the end of the round, discard dissonant voices. Could have been much worse. I'm not super unhappy with that. Right. Okay then. So we've got to take out this young deep one. It's not an easy fight actually, and I have only one card in my hand that will boost fight, and I don't really want to. I need to spend it more as a. I need to spend it more as a because it's a skill card. It isn't blocked by dissonant voices. So unfortunately, against this guy, I'm 5, and he's 4. So I'm only beating him by 1, but I've got no way of boosting. And I don't really want him to just start hitting me. Ooh, other option though, I could move to another location. Yes, and then when I kill him, I'll get the clue. So, when I kill him. Right, okay, I'll move to these Arkham Woods. It's the Arkham Woods. Twisting paths. 3 shroud, 1 clue. When you move out of this location, test, investigate. If you fail, cancel the effects of the move. The path seems to twist and turn upon itself, almost as if it were alive. Horrible location for most investigators. Roland's not too bad there. So because I moved and I was engaged, I take a horror. He gets an attack of opportunity, so I take a horror and a damage. Right, so that's one action. Next action is to hit him. So it's his 4 on my 5. Oh god, -5. So that's a fail. Okay, let's try again. Oh, come on, -5 again. Heaven help me. Right, he hits me. Take a damage and another horror. Oh, I get a card and a resource. Another Elder Sign Amulet. That'll be useful for when he breaks this one. And another resource. Mythos phase. A Doom goes on there. Discard Dissonant Voices. Draw a new encounter card. Ancient Evils. Place 1 Doom on the current agenda. Okay. My actions. See, my Elder Sign Amulet could boost. But my other one is almost... Do you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. So, Roland's going to chop him. Come on, Roland. You can do this. I believe in you. -1. That's 4, which is 5, which is the same as him, which would be 2 damage. I will... Oh, no. Oh, you have to play Vicious Blow before the skill. Oh, that's frustrating. Oh, okay. Well, I've made a mistake there. That was unfortunate. So he takes 2 damage. So Roland's going to hit him again like a chump. -1! Oh, thank you, game, for your mercy. Here, see, I thought I could play the skill... I forgot you have to play skill cards before the test. And that Vicious Blow would have done +1 damage. But I didn't play it before. So, hoovers up the clue. Right, and then... Roland, let's get out of here. So Roland's got to test investigate to get away. So I'm going to play evidence to boost his investigate by 2. So he's investigate 5. Do you know what? I'm never going to play hyper awareness. I'll play hyper awareness as well to boost it. So that's investigate 6. -1. Excellent. So Roland's out of there and he's back onto the main path. Right then, enemy phase, nothing. Again, a resource and draw a card. Roland's 38. Ooh, that's a clue murdering. Dear me, what's going on today, camera? Come on, pull it together. There we go. It's a clue eating special, that is. So, unfortunately, not that many clues. Right, Mythos stays. Another Doom. Dreams of the Relay. Revelation. Put Dreams of Rely into your threat area. You get -1 will and -1 sanity. Action. Test will. If you succeed, discard the Dreams of Rely. Well, that seems terrible. Thankfully, I've got guts that will boost this. It's still not a great test, but we've got to get chugging. So, going to go to another Arkham Woods. Oh no! Oh, shit. So it's the Quiet Glade. 1 shroud, 0 clue. It would be a nice picnic spot if it weren't for all the monsters. Action, heal a damage or heal a horror, limit once per turn. Oh, that's rubbish, because that means there aren't actually enough clues to do this game any other way than killing the blinking Uber boss or sacrificing a card. Right, okay then. Right, in that case, I'm going to move out, and I'm going to move again to the other Arkham Woods, because then at least there'll be a clue to make him stronger. Old house. This location is investigated using will, instead of skill indicated by the investigation attempt. A house waits at the edge of the trail, covered in vines. Inside, the walls and floors are stained and littered with dirt, mud, and discarded bones. Because at least that clue will make my gun and Roland himself better. Enemy phase, there aren't any enemies. I get a resource and a card. It's a guard dog. He must have come out of the house. Right then, a doom goes onto the agenda. And encounter card. It's the Rotting Remains. Oh, how appropriate. Test will. For each point you fail by, take a horror. So my will is only 2 now. So do I use my guts to try and get rid of Dreams of Rely, or do I use my guts to try and pass this check? I'm going to use guts for this. So now my guts go up to 4, and Rotting Remains is a 3 strong test. So -1, which means I passed. Which means I get to draw a card. Unexpected Courage. Awesome. Right, okay. So, unfortunately, knowing what I know about the game now, what I need to do is find Lita Chandler right away, get myself suitably tooled up, and just wait out a turn. So, I'm going to draw a card. Flashlight. I'm going to draw a card. Overpower. This means I'm going to have too many cards. So, rather than discard some, I'm going to play Roland's 38 special, which is 3 money for 4 shots. Right, I'm going to have too many cards anyway, but draw a card and get a resource. Emergency cash. I've got to discard something. It's going to be that flashlight. Yeah. To paraphrase Gandalf, clues are no more use here. So a doom goes onto the agenda, which advances it. A dark blur approaches that you can't read. A dark presence approaches, and you are assaulted by... A dark presence approaches, and I am assaulted by invisible pressures that bring me to my knees. A terrible force threatens to invade my mind and soul. My throat clenches and my eyes water as the sensation burns through me. Each investigator must test will 6. Each investigator who fails must search the collection for a random basic madness and add it to his or her hand. Cool. So I have will 2, so I can't pass, but I've got to do the check because something terrible could happen. -3, if there's a monster at my location, take a damage. There is not. So now I get to look through the basic weaknesses, taking out any enemies, and putting a madness into my hand. It's amnesia. Oh god, that's bad. So choose and discard all but one card from my hand. Wait, where am I? What was I doing? So I can only keep one of the cards in my hand. That is a tough cookie. What do I keep? Do you know what? I'm going to keep emergency cash. Because whatever I pick with the rest, I'll be ruined. So, here we go. Final stage. 3A. Vengeance awaits. The world begins to shift and change as the ritual nears its conclusion. The air grows chilly and the entire forest is covered in a layer of rime. The trees bend unnaturally and their shadows lengthen into weird shapes. Forced, when this agenda advances, if the investigators are at Act 1, put the set-aside ritual site into play and spawn the set-aside Umaroth there. If the investigators are at Act 2 or 3, discard all enemies at the ritual site and spawn the set-aside Umaroth there. So, this is the problem with this scenario, is I don't know what the incentive is for me actually to get there, because I've been through, and all I can do if I discover this next location, if I discover this next act, is it brings out the ritual site and all the cultists I haven't fought before. I suppose that there are clues at the ritual site, but it's so hard. Okay, well, no guts, no glory. So, investigator phase. I think the problem is Roland's testing that. Oh no! Enemy! Come on! I need an enemy to kill so that I can get this last clue. It's a ghoul! Perfect. I don't know if I have read this one. Right, brilliant. That is perfect. And now the enemies are actually weaker again. That's great news. So, Roland, chop at it with your machete. So out of the house comes a ghoul. 3 attack against 5, 2 attacking against 5. That -1 has been loving me this game. So murder the ghoul, hoovering up the clue. Right, I'll spend the 3 clues with investigating the trail. So, scattered throughout the forest, I'd seen glyphs and arcane sigils in various places, etched into the bark of trees, carved upon the faces of stone, and dripped in blood and upon the ground. Though I cannot decipher these glyphs, I notice that most of them tend to face south. Following these signs has led me by twists and turns towards a cave in the darkest and coldest part of the forest. As I advance, shadowy figures emerge from the trees, blocking the only path to the cave. Put the set-aside ritual site into play, if it is not already in play. Search the collection for each enemy recorded in your campaign log under cultists who got away and spawn those enemies at the main path. So, the cultists who got away were Ruth Turner, Peter Warren, and Herman Collins. I spawned the ritual site, which says the large central chamber of a cold dark cavern adorned with arcane markings and dimly lit by candlelight, and it's a plus, and I can only get there from the main path. So I've got 2 actions remaining. So if I move to the main path and then move to the ritual site, I'll bring all these mentalists with me. They'll do me 3 physical damage and do a sanity point for me coming with them, for me just walking along with them, and they're all too tough to kill in one hit. So and then when they actually attacked me, that would be 3 more, so that would be 6. So they will kill me if I go next to them. So what I'm going to do is draw a card, perception, and I'm going to draw another card, a flashlight. My investigate is going through the roof. Right then, So, now enemies, I don't imagine any of them are hunters. No, they are not. So that's, now I get a resource and I draw a card. Another emergency cache. Now the Mythos stays, a Doom on there. Card off the top. It's a Ravenous Ghoul, again. Good lord, I've already killed you once. Right. Right, so, well, I need to chop up this ghoul because I certainly can't walk around with him following me. So, chopping up the ghoul. -5. So that's a fail. Chop the ghoul again. -1. That's 2 damage. And then I'm going to chop him up again. That's -X, where X is the number of monsters in play. He's the only monster, so that's -1. So, more success. Killed the Ravenous Ghoul. How unusual for Roland to feel so empty killing an enemy. Right, enemy phase. They all just hang out there. Resource and draw a card. Unexpected Courage. Mythos stays, a Doom and a card. It's an Acolyte. Spawn at any empty location. And when he enters play, place a Doom on him. He can go at the ritual site. And there's his Doom. Right, so this could be... the problem is my machete's useless. I'd have to be shooting them with my gun. And I would have to succeed in both of the checks to take down one of them. I mean, really, the most dangerous is Herman Collins. Although I could parlay with him now, because I've actually got enough cards. Ah, right, so I could move in. I could parlay with Herman. I mean, I'm never going to manage to evade enough to impress Ruth. But I could... well... do you know what? Let's give it a go. Let's go out in style, at least. Oh, but if I just had Lita, the difference it would make. Because the second I engage these people, there's not going to be any more time for there's cards. So realistically, I can go in there and I'm going to take 2 damage. But then I might be able to kill all the cultists. You know what? I'm going to give it a go. Am I? Yes. So, Roland moves in. So they all come and engage him. Then he's going to parlay with Herman Collins. Choose and discard 4 cards from my hand. So I'll get rid of, basically, Perception, Flashlight, both the emergency caches. So he's gone. And then I will... do I even want to shoot these guys, or am I just going... no, I do need to kill them. Right then, so I'm going to attack Peter Warren. I don't actually need to use the gun, because there's no clues there to boost me. The machete extra damage doesn't actually do anything against Peter Warren, because I need to hit him twice anyway. So I'm going to attack Peter Warren with the machete. +1. Wow. So that's a damage to Peter Warren. If I could pay you off, I would. Right, enemy phase, they each do a wound to me. Right, I get a card, a knife, and a resource. Then Omen goes on there, which puts us on 4 because of the Acolyte. Frozen in Fear. Put Frozen in Fear into your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade, each round, it costs 1 additional action. At the end of your turn, test Will. If you succeed, discard it. Well, that's probably not going to happen because a dreams are a lie. This could be rather unpleasant. Right. Roland, spending 2 actions to do this. Shoot Peter Warren with your gun. Auto fail. Shoot him again. -1, that's a success. So Peter Warren is dead. End of my turn, test will. My will is now 2, which means the chances of me succeeding in this are slim to none. Let's throw in unexpected courage. Come on, Roland. You need to get rid of that fear. If you to have any chance. Although we don't have any chance, but... -1, which means +2 to 2 is 4. -1, frozen in fear is gone. Good work, Roland. Ruth hits you through a damage. And then a resource and a card. Lita! Just when we needed her. And then a doom goes on there, which thanks to the acolyte does it. So if the investigators are at 2, discard all enemies at the ritual site and spawn the set aside Umaroth there. So the acolyte gets consumed, how appropriate. And here comes Umaroth. Here he is, the Devourer below. He's 5 attack, he's 6 health, he's 6 fleet. He's an ancient one, and he's elite, and he's a hunter, and he's massive, and he gets +4 health per investigator, so he's on 10 health. Forced at the end of each investigator's turn, ready Umaroth. If you control Lita Chandler, it's only after her. You throw Lita to Umbaroth in order to spare your lives. Resolution 3. Cool. Great. And then we flip this. Revelation. Place the current act and agenda with the Devourer below. This card is both the act and the current agenda. Objective. Umbaroth is defeated. So I can either kill him or feed him Lita. No prizes for guessing what I'm going to do. So, let's draw a card. It's a ghoul minion. Right. This is what we've been training for. Roland, we can do this. So, if we leave both of these, they will kill us. If we don't get to... Do you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to try and kill both of these and run away so Umaroth moves into the main path and then I can get to him next round. So I need to kill both of these chaps. And that's going to require a great deal of success. So let's hope for a great deal of success. Spend one of Roland's bullets to shoot the ghoul minion. Doing 0. Roland shoots and kills the ghoul. Right. Now Roland is going to machete Ruth. -2. His machete is 5. That's still a success. 2 wounds to Ruth. Right. Now he's got to run away or... Oh no, but when he runs... So the play later. Ruth will do a wound. You know what? No. I succeeded in that check, so this is only to my detriment that I'm pulling it back. So I killed the ghoul minion. Second action, play Lita Chandler. Ruth gets an opportunity attack, doing a wound to me. Then I'm going to run from the main path to the Arkham Woods. Ruth does an attack of opportunity, put it onto Lita. Right. Enemy phase, Ruth does an attack, put the wound onto Lita. Umaroth moves from the ritual site, he can go to the main path. I get a resource and a card. Overpower. There's no doom, but let's draw an encounter card. Grasping Hands. Oh no! Oh god. Test. Oh, I have nothing to boost this. This could kill Lita / kill me, which is basically the same thing, and then I'm screwed. So I need +1 here. Anything other than +1, and it's basically game over. -2. So that means I failed by 3, so 3 physical damage, which kills Roland and kills Lita. So, everyone died. Okay, so I think this is a suitable piece of art to have you look at while I read the doom. For some reason, being out of focus seems entirely appropriate for Ancient Ones. If no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated. Too frightened to face her fate, Lita flees into the night. She realizes that she has failed, and Umaroth's vengeance will pursue her wherever she goes. The creature's tendrils spread throughout the city of Arkham, searching for her. It lurks in the darkness of every corner, tugging at the seams of reality. But Lita is nowhere to be found, so the creature dwells in the shadows, to this day, searching, killing. In my campaign log, I have to record that Arkham has succumbed to Umaroth's terrible vengeance. Roland has been killed, not wounded, killed, and the investigators lose. Well, a suitably Cthulhu-esque ending there. We ran into our little secluded wood, with Ruth following us. Grasping Hands came up from the ground, and we were both murdered. I was hoping, whatever that had been, I could have then macheted Ruth twice, killing her. But even then I was in trouble, because there was no way I was going to survive Umaroth. Ruth is just a super tough cookie. I couldn't manage to kill her and get away from Umaroth at the same time. Oh well, there we go. The end.